Hi, I'm Scott. I read letters from older men who, like me, are going through a divorce or have gone through a divorce. I give advice based upon the mistakes I've made and my experiences during this journey. I ask you, the viewers, to leave a comment so these men can get their lives back and on track. Today's letter is from Esteban. He says, I'm 51 years old. We were together for 18 years and married for 15. We didn't have any kids. We just had two dogs that we raised from puppies. 3 months ago, she told me she wanted a separation. And then she told me she wanted a divorce. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. She said that she had been drifting for a while, though. And what really shocked me wasn't just that she wanted out, it was how she described our relationship. She said that she had felt like she had been alone forever. She was so emotionally unattached to me, and she felt that I never showed up for her. I don't drink. I don't cheat. I come home every night. I pay the bills. I do everything she wants. She wanted a remodeled kitchen. I did it and with no questions asked. She wanted a garden out back. I built it. Whatever she wanted, I was there. I thought that was what a decent man did to provide a decent life. I admit I worked a lot, but I always paid the bills. I manage a small construction company, and it's stressful sometimes. I'm tired when I come home. I don't want to talk about her feelings for 2 hours right after I've done a 14-hour day. But I never really thought that this made her unhappy. Now she says she felt invisible, that she stopped bringing things up because I would just shut down. I don't ever remember shutting down. I remember thinking we were fine because we really didn't fight. Now I've moved out. She's in the house with the dogs and the yard, and I'm in an apartment across town. I just feel so alone. And what really gets me is hearing that she's told people she tried for years, and I just didn't respond. How do you deal with finding out your version of your relationship with your wife isn't the same as hers? And how do you live with the idea that maybe you missed something, something so big that could have saved your marriage? Well, Esteban, what you're really feeling is pain, brother. Man, I feel for you. I have had that pain and I've been there. I know what that pain is like. Um, we've all gone through it. All of us that have gone through a divorce have felt it, and it's real. It's an emotional pain that unfortunately it's gonna be there for a bit. You know, your relationship ending is like most. There wasn't a big explosion. You know, you didn't have an affair. You didn't have these continual screaming matches. You just kind of had a slow parting of your love. I know most men think if we're not fighting, we're fine, you know, in our relationship, but that's not the case. A couple of things that I saw in your letter that I'd like to comment to you on. You know, one thing is two people can experience the same thing in a marriage, the exact same thing, yet have vastly different viewpoints. You could believe things were so solid and while she felt disconnected. Both of those experiences can exist at the same time. You looked at it through your lens and she looked at it through hers. You know, you were paying the bills, you were taking care of the dogs, you were providing for her everything that she wanted. You know, you thought this marriage is fine, but she may have been looking at it through a different viewpoint. You know, she's looking at it from an emotional standard. You know, you weren't close. You weren't feeling like you were there for her when she needed things, you know, and that's oftentimes what happens. Now, She said you shut down. You know what? We as men, she might not have meant it that the way we think of it. Um, when we think of shutting down for us, it kind of looks like, we just want to change the subject. We kind of go quiet. We're offering solutions instead of listening. You know, it's kind of like saying, oh, it's not that bad when she's upset about something, trying to get her to calm down. Um, that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for that kind of talk. They're looking for a more emotional level, you know, and because of that, she might have felt dismissed. She might have felt like you weren't actually listening to her. You were just, shutting down, going off, doing your own thing, listening in one ear and out the other. And we do that as men. We're wired differently, but we have to be aware of how her feelings are too. And the lonely comment is always one that's big. You know, when you spend years with somebody, they're there with you. You may not acknowledge them. They're there. You just feel empty if they're not, you know? And sometimes because of that, we don't acknowledge them so much and they do feel like they're alone. Um, you know, it's not something that is it's like it's not a physical absence. It's more of an emotional void that she's feeling. You felt like you stepped up with all the responsibilities and everything you needed, but she was looking for something more. She was looking for that talk when she got home. Because you got to remember, and I'm not saying this for you as something bad. I'm putting as in her perspective. It seems like she's a homemaker from what you wrote. I'm just assuming that. Okay? She's there all alone all day long. No one else. And then when you come home, her partner comes home. As you said, you work long days, 14, 16 hours a day, and she wants to have these long in-depth conversations. And then you're not there. That's what she's looking forward to all day long because she's alone. She's no one's there. And then when you come home and you shut that down, that makes her feel like she's not wanted. She is looking at it from that perspective. You're looking at a perspective of, man, I've been dealing with stuff all day long. I'm stressed. I just want to come home. I want to relax and I want to, watch my program maybe for an hour and then go to bed. And I've got to do it all over again. It's not wrong from your perspective, from your point of view, and hers is not wrong either. It's you guys just have to communicate and talk and find that happy medium so both of your desires are met. Now, I know one thing right now. You're kind of in a shock right now. It's all coming at you with all the things she said and everything that she announced what she wants and everything else. And it's hard for you. It is really, it's almost like, you don't know what reality is right now. It just doesn't feel right. But let me tell you, it will get better. Just give it a little bit of time. Don't make emotional decisions right now. It will get better. Okay. Once you get out of this little shock phase, it's going to get a little bit better and it will get a little bit better each and every day. You don't need answers to every question you have right now. You know, I would also tell you, don't turn this into something that's self-hatred. Don't totally accept all the blame in the marriage. Okay. You know, sometimes we go to polar opposites. We accept no blame or we accept it all. Don't do that. There's blame to go around. She has blame too. Okay. She could have communicated with you more about her needs, and it's evidently she didn't. She kept it inside. Okay. But you can't torture yourself with bearing all this. But you also have to look at it and say, what did I do wrong? It's very important for us to grow as men, to always look at and say, hey, could I have done something better? Because honestly, if if you ask yourself, when she brought up these concerns, did you really listen to her? If the answer is no, then it's something you might need to work on. Because you can be a dependable man and still learn how to stay emotionally present and responsive to your wife. She has concerns too. So you have to look not only at this relationship, but you need to look at the next relationship you're going to have, because you will. I know it's hard to face that right now, but you will have another relationship after this. You will get better. You will get stronger. But look at the faults that you had at this point and really look from the outside in and say, what did I do wrong on this one? So you will get there. I know you will. I know you will. And I ask any of you other gentlemen that are out there listening, have you ever found that your partner felt alone, while you thought everything was just fine? What signs did you miss? And then how did you handle it? Those are the questions that we want to help Esteban with, because we want to be there with it for him. He needs our help. We're there to help him. And if anybody out there has a issue that they would like to discuss, an experience that they went through when they were divorced, something that they found worked for them, or something that they found was really bad and nobody else should do it, write me an email at talkingdivorceafterwife@yahoo.com. I'll take that. I will publish a video on it. I will send you a notification when it's going to be published so you can look out for it. And more importantly, you can learn from others who are watching that video in the comment section on how they would handle it. That's how we get by. That's how we get better. So for all you that are out there, please, please, please leave a comment. That's the most important thing. All right, guys, stay strong. Until the next one.